Hi, everybody. I'm back again. Um, and I'm torturing a cat right now. Not literally. I just mean that she really hates streaming, and now she's trapped in here with me because it's better than having the kittens run wild in here. So she's going to have to learn to deal with my voice. She's looking at me very disapprovingly right now. All right. So, um, I do apologize for Friday. It was just I needed to have I needed to have some downtime. Um, I'm very sorry. It's but this week I'm gonna go straight on through until I'm done. Um, I do appreciate everyone who's stuck with me so far. I really am glad that you're able to tune in. Thank you for putting up with my little spits and starts here and there. It's been a little bit of a bumpy road this year, so I'm working on trying to maintain consistency. So it was unfortunate about Friday, but it was necessary. Um, I won't be doing I won't be doing like a daily stream, which I think is also I'm only gonna do them once I start getting another book ready to go. Um, until then, I'm not going to do I'll do maybe like a weekly stream where I'm either I'm gaming in some sort of way or something like that. I might do some I might do some other read alouds as well, but it'll be like a once a week sort of situation. And I'll let you know once I get to. I'm sorry. I'll let you know once I get to the point where I'm doing a stream again. But at the end of this week, I will be taking a bit of a break while I'm getting ready for conventions and things like that, and working on this novel that I'm that I'm going over and reading aloud right now. Um, it's been very helpful, so I'm really, really appreciative of that. Being able to sort of read everything out loud is kind of uh, bringing in, uh, bringing into focus what I need to work on in the story, because there's a lot of structural issues that I have with it. Not everyone would have these issues, but I definitely have these issues. Um, as you can hear me ranting every single time I read the story, and I will not apologize for it. It's the way I am, but the story could be so much better, and I'm going to make it so much better. So, now, when last we left off, I was still looking for my chapters. Do, do, do. So, uh, basically, what happens in chapter 20 is on chapter 21, and I'm all over the place tonight. For those of you who are just tuning in and have no idea what I was saying, what I'm talking about, I am currently reading my dad's novels, so I can do editing. Basically, because I hear the words and I'm able to kind of pull out what I think is an issue with the story and whatnot. So usually it's a method of editing, but also I'm hoping to provide some form of entertainment other than the entertainment that people have when kittens run amok muck and I'm having to run around and try and chase them. That's a different entertainment, and you may see that. Um, Although tonight is most likely just going to be a very, very upset adult cat who is trapped in here with me streaming, which is her worst nightmare. Um, so where I left off was chapter 21. Um, I'm almost done the story. So if this tonight is your first night tuning in, I recommend going back to the beginning to listen to the first part of the story to get an idea of what's going on. From there, uh, or in chapter 21, basically, Gwalsor has been able to convince Tosteg to come over to his side. Well, to stay with him for a while, to escape just and just sort of join with Gwalsor and loan his skills to the new barony. So, without further ado, I'm going to search, hunt, and destroy, hunt, and grab out chapter 22. The sand dinner slipped the helmet from his head, revealing a cap of almost unbelievably blonde hair, somewhat now darkened with sweat. A smile gave his blocky features a look of hearty goodwill, though something about his eyes seemed to hint that he could easily be cozened, either at a bargain or on a battlefield. Sorry, it would not be easily cozened, either at a bargain or on a battlefield. I'll not hide the fact, he said in an outland accent, matching his words gently, that I've come here mainly because I heard there was trouble here. My lads and I, he waved a hand at the group of men with him, 20 in all, well armed and well armored. My lads and I are merchants. We sell our skill. Merchants. I believe the word you're looking for is mercenary. Yes, hi everybody. Once I'm done reading the story, then everyone's free. Gwelstar nodded. He was thinking that well-trained mercenaries could be well worth their hire, but one had to be careful. A very able mercenary with a good following might well take advantage of the situation he found here in Grandal to cut out a demence 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 demency. Hmm. I've read it a lot, and I think this is spelled incorrectly. For one, because I think I'm having one of those moments. A demons of his own. I've only ever read it. I haven't. I think I may have heard it once or twice, spoken aloud. And Gwalsor put down a rebellion here scarce a month ago. On the positive side, none of the night holders would be willing to risk a rebellion very soon, and dinner would have to spend some time sorting out the situation before making any moves. Randall had hired men in their company now, but seldom a group such as this, under a recognized leader. Well, another thing for Malga to concern himself about. I'd venture to say you've come far, he said. Again the broad smile. We had the misfortune to be on the losing side in a small dispute between a duke and his royal master over the kingdom of Hydrants across the water. King Harrenhal is not a man to be forgiving of the people who fight against him, particularly if they lose. We thought it healthier to set sail in this direction. Pardon me. You'll likely have heard that we have little money available, said Gwalsor. All the fact that we've assessed fines against some of the perpetrators, the money comes in slowly, and much of what does come in goes to pay for rebuilding what was destroyed. Lysanne smiled. Ah, you'll not be finding us expensive, not if you happen to be faced with another with other enemies beyond the lords who rose up against you. We're good at our trade, unlike some who found a rusty sword and spavined nag somewhere and go immediately to hiring themselves out. Gloucester frowned thoughtfully. I might be able to pay 1 silver a day for you and a copper for each of your men for about a month. After that, I would have to see if we needed you any longer. Lisanne shook his blond head. Perhaps if my men and I were satisfied to eat every other day. No, I'll need 5 silvers for myself and 4 coppers for each of my men. If I were harvesting gold from my fields instead of grain, I might be willing to pay such, replied Gwalsor. 2 silvers for you and 2 coppers for each of your men. Eventually, a bargain was reached. 2 silvers and 5 coppers per day. Oh, wait. 2 silvers and 5 coppers for each per day for Lisanne, and 3 coppers per day for each of his men. After sending them off with a man to guide them back to the barracks, Wellsor turned to Foraith. Worth it, do you think? My lord, they look good and they're well turned out. We'll only truly know if they were worth it after they fought for us in a battle or two. Wellsor nodded. You're right, of course. Well, what else needs our attention immediately? Wellsor was sitting in his chamber, sharpening his sword, when Malgathup came in. Ah, Melga, look at this device Adikda made for me. It allows me to do such things as holding a sword while sharpening it and the like. I can even tie knots, though not too well yet. The device was made of metal, fastened to his hook by a thumb screw. It had 2 sets of prongs, each of which could be tightened or loosened by thumb screws. It's not the equal of a whole hand, of course, but it's better than none at all. So your gnome has uses? Walther shot him a quick look. Ah, Melga making fun of me? And you well know the sorts of devices that Ekdah has produced. I'm serious impressed if you make 30, 40 armored horse for help hold western border. Welser's face turned sober. That bad, is it? Yes. You give me money, I spend careful, so we have good notion what force does Wardick have, even something about his plans. Serious good thing we step on outright uprising fast. Time Wardick hear about it, all over. But he knows we weak, and we have him swarming all over Gwilla's hole before midsummer. Or you paint me white and call me Southern. That was bad. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Walter nodded absently, loosening the screws that held his metal hand to his sword. You've told Foraith? I have. He likely come up soon. When he arrived, the marshal expressed even more concern. Lord, he knows we've been torn up with the rebellion. He knows we'll be short of men and arms and all. Why is he not attacked yet? By rights, he ought to have taken Gwilla's hole from us. Malgathep shrugged. Word here is that he have plan, but he not share with anyone. Leastways, not anyone who talk loose. No hints of any kind? Walsar was absently drumming his fingers on his left wrist. None, Lord. I think maybe assassination? I already strengthened your guard. Talk to some who maybe little lax. Walsar nodded. I don't like it, but I suppose it has to be. Try to find something to do other than to shadow my every movement with clanking guardsmen. Better than not have them at hand when needed. Midsummer Day came around again. Welser gave Jadal leave for the day, with the understanding that he would have to be back to his duties in the evening. In some ways, it was a nuisance getting along without a page, but the boy's expression when he was given the day off was well worth the trouble. In the midst of rushing off, Jadal turned to him and said, "You're sure you won't be needing me, my Lord Baron?" Welser shooed him off with a wave of his hand. "I'll make do somehow. Just see to it that you report back to me. You report to me for the awarding of prizes. Go on now." Before Gwalsor himself could be off enjoy his midsummer day, he had a meeting with Forathing Malgathep. "Nothing happening on our west border, my Lord Baron, and that be worrisome. Yes, yes, I know you'll be joshing me and saying it's more to be worried about when something be happening. But I think this be meaning that Wardick be having some kind of plan of his own, which we haven't yet divined." Gwalsor shook his head. "No, I won't josh you over that. Melga and I have already spoken about Warwick's plan, and about his lack of movement. He still has forces on the border, does he not?" "Yes." Melgathep's face was serious. "Two small forces. Not enough fight fight real battle, even in the state we in. I have word they wait for some agent of Wardick complete work inside Grandel. All watchers in taverns say no suspicious fellows from Wardick. True, Syria is hard for tell Wardick man from Grandel man. And if assassin here, he be serious careful not to look suspicious. All we can do, make sure nobody corrupt any guard." "You be saying one of the guard could be bought?" demanded Forath almost fiercely. "Nothing so simple, like here your purse of gold, look the other way while I kill Baron. More like get him in predicament, then say, look, you do favor for me, I not tell you on you, get you in trouble." And not likely he say something about kill Baron, maybe tell story about Baron not hear petition, want give to him want to give to him some morning when he inspects stables, barracks or something. Forth was still displeased at the notion that one of his guard could let himself get into such a situation. But he nodded slowly. "I'll have it seen to. You understand, though, that even if someone has been approached, he may well be able to lie convincingly and say he hasn't. We have to try, though." Midsummer's Day celebrations were in full swing, with the various contests, games, races, and other entertainments. This year, Gwalsor and Brennan walked around together, and Gwalsor caught sight of certain knowing smiles and grins that were turned their way, then disappeared when the Baron's gaze was touched them. He smiled to himself. Everyone knew what was going on, but everyone would pretend not to know. He recalled after the first night, coming out of Brennan's apartment and finding his guards asleep in the hallway. To order them to tell no one would only mean they would tell their three closest friends, who would tell their three closest friends, and so on. Brennan, of course, had been right that rumors had been going around before that, and was also right that there was no point in acknowledging the rumors. As the day went on, he noticed that he had not seen Janelle. Perhaps, while perhaps unusual, that was not necessarily surprising. The page, given time off, might well decide to disappear thoroughly, so that nobody might suddenly give him a task to do, no matter no matter that the Baron had given him the day off. I also spent a little time at the archery and crossbow butts. Still not an easy task for him, though Brennan squeezed his arm encouragingly. He was relieved when he judged that he had spent sufficient time there and could go on to the quarterstaff bouts. The time for giving out the prizes, he caught hold of a tawny-haired, pug-nosed page hurrying by. Find Jadal and tell him to report to me at once. Yes, my Lord Baron. I'm almost done, guys. Don't harm my son, Lord Baron. He looked around. Brennan was smiling at him. He smiled back. I don't know what you've heard, but I don't eat little boys for breakfast. Wasn't that it? Close enough. Though as his mother, I can freely give you authority to have him beaten if he misbehaves. I wonder where he's gotten to. Was he not supposed to report to you by now? He was, but he's a boy. He may well have gotten involved in something that made him forget. Does that happen often? With Jadal? Very seldom. Though and all, he is still he is a boy. They waited with mounting impatience. Finally, the pug-nosed page returned. I can't find him, my Lord Baron, and no one I've talked to seems to have any ideas about where he might be either. Well, you'll just have to do. Are you on anyone else's orders at the moment? Me, my lord? No, my lord. Good. Stand by me, and when I call out the prizes, you hand them to me. Yes, my lord. Yes, Kitty. Celine, here. It's okay. It's okay. He had expected Jadal Darkonis Quinus to come galloping up all apologetic halfway through the awards. He did not. By this time, Gwalsor was thoroughly annoyed and had decided that Jadal had earned a beating this time, if ever. By the end by the end of the evening, Jadal still had not put in an appearance. Even Brennan was vexed. Where can he have gotten to? I suspect he's realized too late just how tardy he was and is hiding somewhere, delaying the time of reckoning. She smiled at that. I suppose you're right. As you said, he is, after all, still a boy. The next morning, however, Jadal was still missing. Brennan and Gloucester were now thoroughly worried and sent people to ask around. Gradually, they discovered that no one had seen him since the middle of the previous day. Now everyone was concerned. Jadal was not just another boy. He was near enough an heir to the barony until Gloucester had children of his own. The king might not be willing to accept as a baron the heir of a baron executed for treason. He might, however, accept such an heir if the alternative was unrest in the south. Have your sources anything to say about this, Melga? Not yet, Lord, but still early. I have word round we need know anything about Jadal, if you seen with strange person. Not worry. I tell when I hear anything. 2 days went by. 3, and still no word. Save that Malgathup got a rumor that a boy, who might well have been Jadal, was talking with a strange man who, it appeared, had been working for a brewer, for he had a wagon with 2 barrels on it. Further investigation revealed that none of the local brewers knew anything of this man. The gate guards reported that this fellow had gone out the main gate with his 2 barrels sometime in the afternoon, ostensibly headed for Tonnesk. By the 4th day, they were certain that the man had not gone to Tonnesk and further, that no man answering that description had delivered or had been expected to deliver anything that might come in barrels anywhere in Tonnesk. However, a man of similar description had driven a two-wheeled cart carrying a single barrel through the hamlet of Quingadras. Malgathop took this news to the Baron, as he had done with the rest. Guelser looked up at him. Some design of Baron Wardick, perhaps? Malgathop shrugged. Serious possible. We not know anything, sure. Only man talk to Jadal, say man go out gate, say false destination, likely same man go toward eastern border, and man have barrel, maybe can hide boy of 13. Serious little for declare on Wardick. The seventh day after midsummer, an envoy came from Baron Wardick with a green branch tied to it, his spear shaft, a sign that he came in peace. As soon as this news was brought to Guelser, he had a presentiment about the message the ambassador might bring. He greeted the envoy in the audience chamber. The emissary bowed. He was tall and handsome, with a carefully trimmed mustache and beard that set off his slim, dark features. I am Harin Dar Sandsteg, my Lord Baron, and I bring you greetings from Baron Wardick. My greetings to Baron Wardick. I assume you have a message for me? I do, my Lord Baron. Harin dug a hand deep into a pouch at his belt and brought forth a cap, somewhat crushed, and set it on the great wooden table before him. Can I assume you recognize this, my Lord Baron? Yes, it belongs to my page, if I'm not mistaken. I suppose I ought not to inquire too closely just how it came into your possession. My lord, what can I say? The boy wandered into our territory. We suspect he might have come as a spy. However, certain people recognize just who he is, and thought that he might perhaps be important to you. My Lord Baron Wardick is disposed to make a bargain with you. And what sort of bargain might that be? My Lord Baron Wardick has as his guest one of your knight's holders, a kinsman of his, Kendaldar Ezric by name. He might be willing to make an exchange. He might be willing to exchange this spy in exchange for the restoration of Kendall Dar Esric to his place, as for the restoration of Kendall Dar Esric to his place as bleh, to my Lord Baron Wardick of the Bury of Gwilla's Hole and territory immediately around it. Guelser tapped his fingers on his leather cuff. This is the thing I must think about. Certainly. However, my Lord Baron Wardick requires your answer within 7 days, else he shall have to deal with the spy. You understand? I understand that your master is now sunk to making a war on children. Yes, I shall see to it that your answer is given to you in time. You'll be given lodgings here until my reply is ready. Hiran bowed, and the chief steward led him away. It still gave Guelser a start to see Corel Dar Bathus in that office instead of Ralno. He made quiet investigations to see if it were possible to find out who had actually struck Ralno down, uncertain whether or not he might want to avenge a death caused in the midst of a battle. As it turned out, he'd not been able to discover anything, and he found himself strangely relieved over that. Corel, a third son without prospects, and without any real martial bent, had served under Ralno, and was well able to take his place. Guelser realized that his mind was wandering all over the place, or all over these strange paths, to prevent him from thinking about Wardick's ultimatum. He stood and turned to one of his pages. Bring wine to my quarters, immediately. He marched out, aware that his order had been per I think it's supposed to be peremptory, and that he ought to actually confer with Forath at least. But the tangled twist of emotions in his mind rendered him unable to care. The page brought a pitcher of wine and a goblet and set them on the table. I may be needing more, so stay within hearing. Yes, my lord baron. A little later, Forath came to his door. My lord, we have to be talking about this. I have no wish to talk about this now or ever. Perhaps tomorrow. Go away. My lord. Go away, I said. Father's boots and shirt sleeves. Must I tell you twice? Still later, Melchthep came in, looked him over without expression for a few minutes, while Gwalsor waited for him to say something. The Lafetta left as silently as he'd come. For a long time, then, no one approached his door, save for the page who was occasionally called upon to refill the pitcher of wine. Suddenly, a quiet presence at the door caused him to look up. Expecting Malgath again, Brennan stood there, her expression blank. I am not drunk enough for this, he thought. Well, lady, which of them sent you? No. On the other hand, perhaps I am drunk enough to make a real fool of myself. But her expression showed no sign that she had noticed his sneering tone. No one had to send me, my dear. Can you imagine the news not coming to me eventually of what Warwick's men demanded? And knowing you, how do you take us? I had to come to you. For a moment he had another cutting comment on his tongue, but instead simply said, Lady, if it were merely a case of, of a demand for Gula's whole, I would let him have it. Then the next year after another take it back from his arms by arms. But he demands also that I reinstate Dar Ezrik. If I give way to that, I can expect another uprising to start next year, or the year after, and a worse one. For some of those who were lukewarm to me will see me too weak to protect them, and go over to the rebels simply for their own safety. And though we had a bloody war against ourselves this spring, the cost of next year would be much more exorbitant. And my son? Lady, with all my heart, I want to save your son. But if I do, how many other mothers' sons will die because of it? And what will be left of the barony entrusted to me? Will you not attempt to mount a rescue? Take some men and to break into Warwick's castle? If it could be done, I would do it. But he has left us a bare 7 days, enough for his messenger and guard to ride back with word, but not enough to call out any sort of force to march there. I have thought of all the possibilities, believe me. They sat there. They sat there, then, for a time, with no words left to say. Then she waved a hand at the wine. All this, then, because you seek to put off the time when you must make the decision? It was said gently, but the point of it struck home to him. Yes, I suppose I am. Page? The page stuck a frightened face around the doorway. Go down to the kitchen and fetch me some cold meat and bread, and get me some wine, well watered, to wash it down. Yes, my lord baron. Walter looked up at Brennan. Will you stay to have a little wine with me? She shook her head. You don't need me sitting around watching you as you come to your decision. You might wish to talk to me later, though. Walter sat in his room. He had eaten some and felt a little better, though he knew, and he was sure that Brennan also knew, what his decision must be. Malgathop slipped quietly in the door. Yes, Yes, Celine, we're so close. We're so close. You're fine. Everything's fine. I'm just talking. Malcolm quit, slipped quietly in the door. Ah, you may be a little more sensible? Just a bit. Did you send the Lady Brennan? Malgus shook his head. No. I seriously busy try find a way out this mess. I appreciate the thought, but I'm afraid they've left us precious little time to work in. So I think. So I hire your magician friend. We think maybe we can do something, if you want. Pemberland? Walser felt a surge of hope. What is he to say? I sent him I sent him in, explain. He stepped outside and a moment later he ushered in the magician. Pemberland was his usual well-dressed self. Slashed sleeves and all. And Gwelser found himself wondering whether the man had an apprentice who served as a valet, keeping his clothing in order. So, Master Pemberland, I understand that you feel you can be of some use to me in this matter. The magician bowed. Your very persuasive friend visited me earlier today with an outline of the problem. That is, we need to arrive at Warwick Castle some time before the messenger, find out where the page is being kept, free him by stealth, and return. Now I've worked out answers to all parts of the problem, some magical and some not. Discovering where the boy is being kept will be the very least of the difficulties, unless Warwick engages a very strong magical aid. And from what I know, even if such a matter does occur to him, he does not have a sufficiently capable magician available. Arriving at the castle before the messenger is a little more difficult in terms of the energy that must be expended, but I can manage as well. As for the stealth, my Lord Baron, I do not boast when I say that I am the master of a great array of spells for that purpose. I can assure you that we shall be in and out of the castle, unmarked by any, unless one of our party takes it into his head to do something foolish. Walser held up his left hand. You speak of a party? You'd not be doing this all by yourself, then? For the first time in their acquaintance, Walser saw the magician discomfited. My Lord Baron, locks and bars and the like, being made of iron, are matters of great difficulty to deal with magically. Yes, I hear you. It can be done, but only with great time and effort. Have, however, spoken to your friend, the gnome, who says that he can unlock any lock made, given, say, the time it takes to recite a single verse of one of the old epics. He is willing to come along. Malkuthep has also expressed a willingness to come along in case of unforeseen eventualities. This makes three, and my method of transport can easily accommodate more than that. Grosser came to his feet. I will come along as well. Yes, I hear you. Come here. Malkuthep straightened. My lord, you not. Not, Melga? It was my impression that I am the Baron of Grandel, and that I am expected not to merely give orders, but to take an occasional risk on behalf of the folk of my barony. There was still no expression on Lafetta's face. My lord, you drunk? Not quite that drunk, Malga. I will go unless you take it into your head to lock up your baron for his own good. Malgathup made a noise of disgust. So you come too, I spend time watch out for you instead of do other things. Perhaps not. Master Pemberland, would you be able to take along one more person? Yes, my Lord Baron, but we must also remember that we will be bringing your page back, so we must not overload on the way out. One, perhaps two, if they are very light. The person I have in mind is not very light, so it will be only one. How much time do you require to prepare to begin the trip? 3 hours, my lord baron. If all goes well, I will leave it to your servants to prepare the food and such supplies as are needed. Go begin your preparations then. We will begin ours. One of the first things Gwalstar did was to search for and find Tostig. Tostig, I'd like you to accompany me on a trip. It will be a dangerous task. I'll not hide that from you. I can only take one man with me besides Malgathep. Will you come? What sort of dangerous task be this, my lord baron? Jadal, the son of Lady Brennan, has been kidnapped by Baron Wardick. The magician Pemberlent feels he can bring us in and out safely. Will you come? Tostig pursed his lips. That be powerful dangers for certain, my lord baron. And you'll be going yourself? It's something I really couldn't ask someone else to do for me. You understand? Oh, I think I do, my lord. Yes, I'll be coming if you be wanting me to. My thanks, Tostig. I'll not forget this, I assure you. Tostig grinned. Will you keep this up, my lord, and you'll be finding you be owing me as so much as that there be not for it be turning the baron over to me. Balthor smiled in return. Be careful what you say. We've just had an uprising, and there's some that might take that kind of humor badly. We'll have to be ready to go in 3 hours. Can you manage that? Sure enough, my lord. Forrest did not like the fact that Gwalsar was going along on this venture. Lord, you'll not be. He stopped, caught himself, then began again. Lord, you'll get yourself killed, and we need you here. Gwalsar grinned. Pemberley knows that if I'm killed, he won't be paid. He'll take very good care of me. Make light of it if you will, my lord baron. But this is a danger you needn't going into. And if you die, what of the barony? Now, Forraith, why need I not take this danger on myself? Tell me. For a page, Lord Baron? You know, just as Wardick knows, that Jadal is not just any page, but the son of Brennan. He has taken Jadal because of what Jadal's mother means to me. So I'm going to rescue Jadal, and afterward, I'm going to show Wardick why it's not a good idea to anger me. Keep Wardick's messenger until tomorrow. Then tell him to go back and inform Wardick that it will do him no good to hide behind a child. Send messengers off to all our holders, informing them of the situation, and tell them I desire their forces to be gathered at Gwillow's Hole, soon as they may be, with supplies as well. He might also make it clear to them that Wardick is demanding the reinstatement of the notorious rebel, Dar Ezric, and hint that failure to meet this muster might well be considered a support of a rebel. Lord, we cannot fight another fight so soon. We can, and we will. Send the messages, Forraith. So, Master Pemberlent, how do we travel? They were all gathered in Pemberlent's house, the walls of which were festooned with lamps, wheels, horoscopes, star charts, and other less familiar items, all part of the magician's art. In the center was a table, dark oak, 3 feet wide by some 8 feet long. Gwalsar wondered about this table, for it took up most of the space in the room, and nothing was on it save a pack sack, stuffed full by the look of it. Pemberley looked at the group, smiling. Sirs, I have made several experiments involving flying magic, and I have become at least moderately competent in making things fly. We'll be using this table, partly because it is large enough to hold all of us and our supplies, partly because oak flies reasonably well. Put your packs and supplies on it, then sit along the edges. Pull yourselves well on so as not to fall off while we travel, for we will be flying quite high. Tostig muttered something in a distrustful tone, and though Malgathev's face was expressionless, he was eyeing the wizard closely. Sirs, it is necessary to travel quickly. By this means we need not follow the trails as they wind over the land, but may go almost just directly. If some or all of you do not wish to go, I shall go alone and do what I can. They all took their seats. With Pemberlin at one end, the wizard reached in under his pack to reveal a stout spike in the center of the table, with several strong cords tied to it. Sirs, would each of you take one of these and tie it around your waist? The table's surface is slippery, and I would not have any of you lost while we travel, particularly while we are high in the air. When they were tied, he spoke some words in a strange tongue, and the table floated free from the floor. Though they had all been told what was about to happen, there was still a muffled shout of "Fathers, boots, and belt buckles" from Tostig. The table steadied, tilted the other direction, then leveled off. "Open the window," Pemberlin called to his servant, who hastened to fling back the shutters on the window. "Sirs, we will fit through the window well enough. We shall all have to duck our heads. I shall move slowly enough so as not to harm anyone. But it would be best if you would all keep an eye out as well as we make our exit. Now, sirs, are you ready?" There was a general mutter of assent, and the table floated slowly out through the window. There it hovered for a moment again, while Pemberlin spoke once more. I will show you. I will now take us higher into the air and begin our journey. Are you all settled, sirs?" The passengers muttered assent, and a little more strongly this time, the table floated off into the night sky. So it's kind of one of my favorite parts of the story. I just love the fact that they're using a flying table. And I feel like it has some sort of like there's some like I feel like there's some sort of history of that. So yeah. Um I'm gonna deal with an minor emergency right now because someone is a little bit upset. It's another cat emergency. That happens. But yeah, this is one of my favorite one of my favorite parts of the story is the flying table. It is just it's so inventive, and like I said, it kind of reminds me of some sort of like folklore or some sort of like something like that. It feels like a story that I've heard before, like a folk story I've heard before. I just don't remember where. I want to say like because it kind of reminds me of when they have at a Jewish wedding where they like rise people up on chairs. It's kind of like that, only it's with a table. Only it's with a table, and I think that might be where he actually got it from. So yeah, there's things like that that kind of keep make me happy about the story. Um, yeah, so I really thanks everybody for tuning in, but that's the end of this chapter. Um, I will sign off for now, but I will talk to you all again tomorrow. Thanks again for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. And again, I'll I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.